power is insane. The tankiness of Tahm Kench gets mitigated, especially post 6 by the subjugate. And then Pillar into Scatter the Weak is akin to Ziggs, you know, bombs with pillars, but then now you just instantly die because it's Syndra. So it's... I'd be terrified here if I was Gen.G, but if they can navigate through those small windows in the early game, try and get Wukong to spread his post 6 power across the rest of the map, maybe? But Damonki are definitely the one with all the power here. And they decide what's going to happen early on.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. I think the only thing that I can really see as far as early game power is this Azir in the mid lane, being able to push out waves, and we know that this is almost specifically a BDD thing. Oftentimes, you'd expect the Azir to not necessarily be as aggressive, but it's BDD, and he has almost permanent lane prio every single time he picks this champion, and especially into the Rise that has that lower range, might be a way for him to get around it, but damn. Damonkia knew exactly what they wanted. This was rapid fire picking in the draft, and I'm very excited to see whether they're going to be able to play it out to the same confidence level as we saw during that pick ban.
Also, look at these rune choices on bot side. That's Aryan Hail of Blades.
I love Hail of Blades, Trundle.
Gary, of course, the one who I think showed us that first. The more recent Trundle supports have mostly been Guardian. Into this matchup, though, makes a lot of sense. And I haven't even finished my sentence, or I look at Life's rune choices, and he's like, let's heal some Blades. I'm down as well.
Yep.
So that...
I love it because I feel like it's Tahm Kench, Trundle, and Braum that are all just like phenomenal early game Hail of Blades abusers.
Yeah.
Especially in these melee matchups. And let's just see how it goes. As Ghost down here with Beryl, we've got the aquatic variety of Syndra and the junkyard variety of the Trundle. My personal favorite skin a few years ago. As Bertle already going aggressive, Nimbus Strike attack speed going to help him win out on that trade, as Khan not quite able to abuse his range advantage. And already popping a pot, doesn't exactly feel the greatest.
No, not going to be super happy about that. Bertle also has the Time Warp Tonic available, so gives him a bit of deceptive power. And
wow, we are trading instantly as Bertle's hyper aggressive in this lane. As soon as he backs away, there's the flash. Flash trade at level 1 before 2 minutes has even ticked over.
Oh,
yeah, this
boy.
is spicy.
I was not expecting that amount of power. I was under the impression that this is a matchup that if you space it out well as Khan, you're going to be able to use your range advantage. But Bertle clearly recognizing his power in this matchup and pushing it so far, right? Like the moment that Conqueror procs, then having the confidence to also flash in means that any subsequent setup on Khan is going to be so much easier now. Like, yes, of course, post 6, this is always a rough matchup for Jace. But without the flash available, you're going to have to play a lot safer. Because if it visits your lane and you don't have flash, it's really rough. But if you can't put early pressure on this lane as Jace, it's also bad.
Yeah. I think that, you know, as far as how that trade worked out, with the extra potions that Khan did have, being the fact that they were both without flash and both of them on rather low health, did benefit Khan that little bit extra. And as you can see, able to push out a little bit further. Canyon, level 3 ganking the top lane as the Shock Blast goes wide. Bertle just going to be playing super safe. Clid's going to move up though. Here goes the mist, and there's no flash, remember? As Bertle's in trouble, First Blood goes over to Canyon, who knew exactly where to be. Clid though is going to be able to get that reset. Looks for it as he dives on over. Canyon still wanting to fight him here, lands the Q. Will take a turret shot though and needs to be a little bit careful. Teleport to come through from at least one mid laner, and Bertle to come back to the lane. Sorry, Khan is just going to make his way back up. Sometimes I get a little bit trolled by the speediness of the death timers in this early stage of the game, as Showmaker, as we mentioned before, getting shoved in pretty disastrously in this mid lane.
And so much action happened there. I love the setup there from Canyon, because you know that with that Flash Force and clip pathing topside, the chance of there being a topside play are incredibly high. I think at the very end of it, you're going to be decently happy here as either team. Bertle is able to still catch up most of the wave, and if Clid finds a repeat gank, it's truly devastating. And then you get a kill on the Lee, you get a kill on the Viego. Neither team really going to be unhappy about that, as it gives them a lot more skirmishing and dueling power. Khan, of course, knows, so he might pretend that he doesn't, but Clit not wanting to really spend too much time. With this pathing, though, is going to fall considerably behind him. Yes, Ruler.
Yeah, Ruler's in trouble. He's going to get ignited. Flashes away. Life unable to answer at all. Demonstration here from Damonkir as to how powerful this lane is.
And it's the combo. We mentioned it earlier, like the moment you actually get on top of someone, as it has been 406 days since we last saw a bot lane. There was Sandbook's Root versus T1 Teddy.
It was the Jin Air 80 carry matchup. Very exciting. As of course, no Callista available for any sort of answer. It was of course Teddy's Callista, which is a pretty daunting task. But this a very different situation as Ruler's trying to navigate it on this Aphelios now with 0 summoner spells and no exhaust from his support to help him out.
And it's already a hard enough matchup as is, because as Aphelios, you can't do the Aphelios thing where you can use the setup that you have available with your guns and some specific combinations to actually exert pressure in the lane. Because you don't have the range, right? Like Syndra just outranges you, trying to walk up makes you a target for a really easy scatter, and that's also why we see those prio lanes come through on bot side as well. And if Damonkir actually cash in on this summoner lead that now has been built up on the bot side, they can get themselves in a really nice position. A possible dive with Showmaker, has a teleport and the Realm Warp available, could also open up a Drake. And this is the early game power that we mentioned, right, from GENG, where just the sheer power that they have in their lanes in of itself should be enough to get them an early lead. And you need that early lead.
Yeah, as Damonkir, right? Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, as Damonkir, because if you're GENG, then
it's a rough time.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Clid paid that early visit towards the top side, because they were banking on the Wukong having a bit of the ability to save this. Now level 6 has been hit. This should be where Birdle's capable of turning this matchup around. And we've seen so many times Jaces just walk into a Wukong lane with his Cyclone available and just die. It's happened so many times. But hopefully, Khan is going to get the memo on that one and not actually fall prey to it. And it looks like he is playing far enough back in order to make this one work out. Flash just available again for both of our top laners now.
And that is a big one. Should make sure for Khan that at the very least, if he does get engaged upon, he can try and get away from that as easy as possible. And with GENG being pushed in basically every lane permanently, it's up to Damonkir to really make use of that, right? And what has it gotten thus far? They've been able to trade kills, they've been able to pick up some minion leads across the board, right? Every single lane just a little bit behind. Now a blue buff as well, and I would love a dive here.
Diving. Yeah, Realm Warp is available, of course. As Showmaker is going to walk over Vision, but Canyon's walking through a minion wave. Ruler's in trouble. There is no Devour available as BDD's going to turn up. Does find the Trundle as he gets booted back into the team. The flash out of the way of the Emperor's Divide. They are going to be able to trade 1-for-1 in the end. See whether it's going to be worth it as Khan. Let's see whether that test is actually going to come through. The flash from Birdle gets the triumph and walks out.
And that's an incredibly huge kill. Oh, no.
As he's trying to deny Showmaker here, but Khan will be able to get the 1-for-1 in the end. So not exactly the worst. No teleports for either of our top laners, though, as with the fact that BDD had to invest his teleport towards the bottom lane, does mean that Damonkir are able to equalize the trade.
Within the context of the matchup, I think it's a win for GENG. Not a large one, but one you can... not as really good.
Yeah, Ruler is just biting Ruler. Canyon's going to come through, grabs an easy kill. Not sure how that one started.
Yeah.
Quizzical noises?
No longer an even trade.
Maybe we don't include that in the trade so that we can continue talking about it?
If we don't include that in the trade, because I think it is actually interesting, because even trades for the team that has better scaling, like, is always going to be mildly favorable. They get gold onto their BDD, and Birdle finds a solo kill, right, because he's enabled by the knowledge that no one will collapse onto him on top side. Besides that Showmaker teleport at the very end of that play.
Yep.
But giving gold over to Birdle means that his threat in that lane is going to become even better. However, with Ruler getting caught out there, that's actually super huge, because with the Aphelios dead, there is both the opportunity to shove in the wave in bot side and also just pick up a Herald without any possible contestation. As imagine if this was Autumn Kench, this would not be a possibility. However, it is not. Barrel only level 4, so not nearly as tanky as you might otherwise be. As I am pretty sure that that was BDD's intent to just try and disengage, not wanting to continue on the play there, as just a read here as well from Birdle, right? Knowing that he has the damage with that flash in.
The Triumph as well, keeping him alive. Didn't want to give the assist over to Showmaker, which is why I walked into turret range there, in case you guys were confused. But
if you only saw the replay, it was like, what? It just stands there and is like, ah, well, no cooldowns, goodbye.
Yep. As Khan in trouble once again, but this time, Canyon's going to be here. Let's see if we can find the Q. You don't need to if you just flash for it. Oh, the Q's going to miss, however. And the flash cripple not enough as Khan's still looking for it, but Birdle's going to be able to walk away.
And that's really big because he can base, he can then teleport back to his turret, and I don't know if he'll be in time, especially because no one on the team can help him, and they do have the Herald available, so that might just be a sack turret, but can at the very least defend his tier 2 as, I'm not going to go for the teleport here. I'm going to save it instead, especially a champion as Wukong that has so much impact when he can teleport to a fight.
Are they just going to hold on to the Rift Herald here as well and just take the turret without it? Looks like that is going to be the option that they're going for. I love this, playing chicken with Birdle's teleport, and they saw he didn't go for it, and therefore they don't need to invest it as they're going to see how many of these minions they can take down. As Canyon now going to be able to throw this Rift Herald somewhere else.
Can spread the gold across the rest of the map, because while the kill pressure is there for Birdle, Khan is still fed, and that might seem weird, considering that really the only thing on note we've seen was that early level skirmish on top side, the 2v2, and then a solo kill. But when it comes to plates and CS, Khan has big leads, and that is something that Birdle is going to have to try and kind of work around. I still think that in a pure 1v1, this matchup is so lopsided that the moment Birdle finishes his Sunder, he's still going to be fine. But it does mean that for everyone else in the game, Khan's Shock Blast are going to be a huge problem. And Damwon Kia has been so good at playing around these. Canyon also, on his Lee Sin, not able to pick up the kill on Birdle there, but his pressure around the map has been impeccable. And we saw what happened last time when Canyon got fed and felt good on his Lee. Remember the 15,000 skill shots he dodged?
Yes.
Credit Brion. That was fun.
That was pretty impressive. Also being able to play billiards with his opposition as well in order to make great escapes. Made our play of the day, I believe, on that particular day. As Canyon trying to get himself towards the top of the POG standings. He's going to use Shelly here in the mid lane to try and help Showmaker have a shot at it as well. Going to be a big influx of gold here for the Rise. That is going to be a big old headbutt for Shelly. Clid going to move on over as Life Abyssal dives towards the mid lane, and Ghost now knows that he's free to push this one up. Has a slight level advantage over Ruler. And with the Unleashed Power available, it means that every bit of health that Ruler has is so important to keep track of, as Life does move himself back. And Ghost continues to have control. I do want to point out as well to those of you that are looking at this bottom lane saying it's Ghost trying to skip lane and avoid, a straight up 1v1 80 carry style versus Ruler. The last time these two teams met, it was actually just straight up 80 carry laning, and Ghost and Beryl played extremely well. It was actually pretty hard carry performance. It was Jhin and Varus for Ghost, so I guess not necessarily traditional, but the scoreline's certainly very impressive.
Even then, I actually think this is a great sign for Damwon Kia, because what made Damwon Kia so insane in 2020, not just the individual skill, but the diversity that the team showcased, the ability to take different strategies, adapt them to their opponent, the draft, and their own needs, and then execute on them no matter what the win conditions were, right? They were so versatile, and it was one of the reasons why they were like such a hard team to face in best of fives for any opponent that year, especially in summer. And to see Ghost seemingly out of nowhere, because yes, we know that Syndra has been buffed on this patch, and she is coming up back in bot again. But if this opens up the door to Ghost actually playing more mages, things like the Zeref, the Swain come to mind, that into specific picks can provide a lot of value. It's incredible. Was a dive here.
Yeah, big realm warp towards the top side. We can just take down this turret, as that's a great knock-up as Birdle's trying to get out of there. He might be able to, as Canyon's going to go down first. They do manage to trade for Clid as now Bertle is going to be taken by Showmaker. BDD is going to replace the turret and he has full health. But 1 versus 2 is still a big ask as Damwon will win out on that trade in the end.
And it is slowly falling apart for GENG, and you see the power of this composition from Damwon. Not even on their 1-item spikes yet, but already just the threat that they have available, the rotations that they can take, and the gold lead that they already had at that point in time, meaning that the trades leading up to that point have both Clid and Bertle already so low, right? Like, can't place this, sets up for this so nicely, and yeah, sure, they're able to trade back a kill. That's nice, but it's still, turret goes down, kill trade is favorable for Damwon, and as long as they keep trading like this, keep GENG on the back foot and don't give them time to just freely scale into this game, they're always going to be happy. And I'm happy to see that Damwon is really taking that message and pushing it as hard as they can.
Yep, and as you can see, that early game power that you illustrated earlier on, coming from the draft, really translating into plates here.
Ooh.
Like, that's a lot of money. You can see the gold lead. Half of that is plates. As the Drake is going to spawn once again. We've got some resets coming through though here for Damwon. So it looks like GENG might just be gifted this one. Surely going to be the priority here on Damwon side to continue just crushing structures on GENG. And I love this focus from a team that wants to win earlier, right? Get money now instead of playing for a later game win condition in that Soul, as it will be the Mountain this time around. Not the Infernal that we saw so many times yesterday. It felt like every single game was an Infernal Soul. It's ridiculous. Where are my clouds, man? It's a typhoon at the moment here in Korea. So I'm expecting a few extra clouds. But it was our first Drake, so maybe just getting a little bit excited.
Just wanted to say hello.
Very early.
Yeah. Wanted to give you a warm welcome
to
this final day of the week.
Very much appreciated. BDD going to find a bit of damage here onto Beryl. But Beryl got a fair bit of sustain as this Trundle.
And while there is a very clear lead for Damwon, we're not yet at a point where GENG is completely out of it. I think that Damwon, if they keep playing like they have, GENG shouldn't really have an opportunity. You're really talking about like insane flanks that come through from Bertle, or ill-advised skirmish where Clid can pop off, or 5 people running into Ruler, which you don't really need to. Yep.
Wow, that was a lot of damage on the Ruler.
Yep. Case in point, you don't have to run into Ruler, so it should never happen. And this is something that I'm really happy about, and I think is a lesson for GENG as well, is that one of the most off-tier criticism is that they are somewhat predictable. And picking Aphelios Kench on the first rotation is, in of itself, a choice that can not get punished. Often in the LCK it won't, but if you then play into a Syndra Trundle, you just get demolished. And the problem is that if Damwon are in a position where their bot lane isn't losing, they're as terrifying as they always used to be. Because then all of a sudden Canyon doesn't have to babysit bot. Showmaker has the ability to go to both sides of the map, and it opens up so much more. And now you see all the outers have already fallen for GENG. They're pushed back into their own, out of their own jungle rather. And yeah, they picked the first 2 Drakes, and they still have a lot of teamfight power available between the Azir and the Wukong. But I don't think that...
Oh, Canyon. He's still just going to wait here. There we go. Second time's the charm. And this is the beautiful thing with having all of this extra control of the map and having 2 mid laners basically in the Syndra and the Ryze. You get 2 blue buffs. And so both of them are able to collect one. Here's Shirley. She's going to try and take the inner turret here towards the bottom side, and I think that she will just be able to get it. Yeah, just plants the skull in there, and it's all too easy for Damwon. And I was going, oh, okay, BDD going to start something here as he pushes the Ryze underneath the turret and very comfortably grabs this one. Damwon still pushing here on the bottom side, wanting to get this next charge as Bertle dives forward. It's a good stun from Ghost on the disengage. There's Clid going to get himself out of here. Just going to use that possession or depossession to get that one working as everyone just dives on in, and there's Khan's Shock Blast. This is the one he prepared earlier with all of that obscene amount of gold, was able to take him down from a 3rd health.
Oh, that was patience from Damokia right there. And I actually loved their bot side push. I thought it was very controlled. Their vision in the GENG jungle was so good, which also meant that there was no opportunity for a Wooking flank, so you can actually move up that far. However, for Showmaker, he didn't have that type of control on the top side and just had to play a little bit more respectfully, especially with how far the rest of his team was up. So a little bit of an individual error there, but not the end of it. And Klid just, he's like, no, they wouldn't wait, right?
Yeah.
But they did. They did, in fact, wait. Because getting greedy for the control ward to the best of us is taken low.
Away. And this is just crazy because the Wukong thing happened with the Jace. He got solo killed. The Jace got solo killed. Oftentimes, this dictates a change in the momentum on that top side, and Damokia just said no to that. As Khan has just been getting more and more farm. You can see 3,000 gold in the lead is now cleared. In a little bit of trouble, has to ult to get himself out of there. Actually, no, had to use the flash. They often get them mixed up, and oftentimes it's the ult that comes out instead of the flash, but that was on cooldown still.
And it's due to the pace with which Damokia played this game, because it's nice if you're able to get a 1v1 lane in the lead, right? If all of a sudden the matchup switches, you hit your breakpoints, and you get kill pressure. That's fine, but if the laning phase is already over, then it doesn't matter. And the laning phase at that point was done, right? Yeah. Like, Canyon visited topside maybe once or twice.
I like how you call it Canyon.
I mean,
that's basically what it was this game.
It really was. And that again ties into how good it is to Damokia to see that bot lane just have so much pressure. And it's due to the draft, and this diversity in draft from Damwon is something that for the longest time
barrel.
And moved away from. However, the poke is still good here from GENG.
Sun connects onto life here. That's almost perma CC, and Ghost is going to pick that one up as Canyon dives in on the backside, gets a decent kick into Ruler, but he is still going to fall down. The Shock Blast not actually connecting here as Ruler still at full health. 1 for 1, but with Canyon now gone, it should be Soul Point being possible here for GENG. There's the Moonlight Vigil though, as Barrel should be taken. No, just barely saved by the heal from Ghost. Now Damokia don't want to go for it. It's basically a 3 versus 4. And that is Soul Point now for GENG. They are down 5,000 gold, or closer to 6,000 gold at this point in the game. But still, the team fights are so powerful for GENG with the fact that they do have a more conventional marksman on the bottom side.
They do. And I think if Canyon doesn't get over-enthusiastic there, that there will be no opportunity. And this is more of the summer Damokia, where yes, they have some amazing moments, but there's still some lack of discipline that needs to be addressed. Because going in there, when you already get a kill on the Kench, is simply not necessary. It buys GENG the opportunity to just freely walk into the river, and that in of itself means that the Soul Point is now available for them. I still hold that with the gold lead that Damokia have, GENG should not be able to, and while Mountain Soul is good, I don't know if it's enough to immediately going to bring GENG back to the game, but the one thing that I was skeptical recently about with GENG was BDD's performance. And yes, he is on his Azir, but even on Azir we've seen him have games where he did not a lot. And this game, like his damage and his threat, the way he moves around in team is insane.
Huge.
Yeah, because his team's losing all across the map, right? And he's still 4-0. Like, that's something that I think we need to highlight. But if Damokia play more respectful, use the range that they have on the Jace and the Syndra, and take it a little bit slower, still in prime control of the game.
Yeah, or maybe if they just take a free Baron, but it looks like this control ward is not going to be cleared. Showmaker eventually goes back in, but Baron's still angry. Is finally going to reset here. As we get the full zoom out to spot that all 5 members of GENG are in the mid lane. This is a pivotal moment, because if GENG can find their 5v5s, they're still terrifying. Damonkia's comp is not sort of built around that. It was around these mid-game picks and skirmishes that we have already seen go so well. The GENG, with the few kills that they have been able to pick up, certainly is... it's not the end of the world just yet. It's looking dire, don't get me wrong. But I think we can still have a little bit of hope here for GENG, because the amount of tools that they have in a 5v5 is just ludicrous.
The one thing that's working against GENG, even with the nice pick or damage that he was able to find earlier, is that Ruler is so far behind. And this is great. Damokia, use the control that you have to pick up, hopefully, a Baron here.
Yeah, well, it's already down extraordinarily low. Life's going to come in and get the bad news. I don't think they're going to be able to get over in time. As Clid gets slowed down, there's the Shock Blast and a free Baron for Damwon Kia. They all get into the Realm Warp as well as Showmaker just books it out of there. He buys a ticket for all of his friends and doesn't even get on the train. Still beautifully done.
He's fine. He's Ryze. He will just, I guess, stay at the station, read a book, you know, push a wave. What
Can't get interrupted if you're not actually in there.
Ah, got him.
Really clean. As GENG will be able to grab this turret, but that is... Yeah, okay, Devour going to be used onto Clid there as Birdall immediately going to get scattered out of the fight. BDD down to half. That's a great Shock Blast as Showmaker looks for BDD. Does almost find him, but now he's going to be out of the fight as Canyon's fighting Birdall, but he's got a Gore Drinker and Birdall's in trouble. The Q lands this time and Canyon finishes it off. Clid now extraordinarily low life. Mega dead in the river as he tried to go back to his natural habitat, but it was not safe there. As Damwon Kia will now get the counter push.
And this is the leeway that your immensely strong early game has brought to you as Damwon Kia. Yeah, you make a mistake or two in the mid game, but you still have these leads. You still have the opportunity to push so incredibly aggressively. And this ties into GENG feeling desperation once that Baron comes through. Because GENG diving there on that mid-outer is a desperation move. The reason is that if it somehow works out, if Birdall gets that flank, if you blow up 1 or 2 people and you can back off, you don't get sieged upon by a terrifying Damwon Kia comp with a fed Jace, a fed Syndra.
I thought Khan was just going to insta-kill him there.
Yeah, me too. It's that type of game. He has a 500 gold bounty. He is monstrously fed.
He has a whole extra item over his lane opponent at the moment.
Yes.
Not to mention the close to 7 TCS advantage.
Indeed.
And look at that linear gold graph as well. Damwon Kia had a bit of a slow moment there from about the 18 to 24 minute mark, but now things are really starting to surge ahead. As BDD getting some poke damage onto Canyon. We have to keep our eyes on the Azir. He is so much of the GENG damage as Birdall, now possibly in trouble. He's going to be able to press W and be okay for the moment. As GENG trying to get into position to steal away this Mountain Soul, possibly their only avenue back into this one as they do pick up the aggro as Damwon Kia still just holding on. Birdall gets in, gets out. The Cyclone is going to buy space, and that is going to be Mountain Soul as BDD dives forward, finds 2 with the Emperor's Divide, but do they have enough damage? That's the question. They've lost so many as GENG. They just don't have the wallets for it. Damwon Kia wiped the floor with them, and yes, you managed to pick up 4 dragons, but Damwon Kia, they'll take the Nexus.
GENG see an opportunity, give it their all, but it is not enough. Damwon Kia played the early part of the game out so well, used all the advantages that were given to them by this draft, and then, yeah, you get a couple of man in a really nice shove there, BDD, but when your item's behind,
yeah,
not going to win you the game.
No, beautifully played by Damwon Kia. I loved how they focused on exactly what they needed to in order to win the game. It wasn't about denying dragons, things like this. Canyon's going to have a bit of a dance, and Damwon Kia will take down the Nexus in game number 1. Really beautifully drafted and even better played.